Hello, once again. I'm delighted that you stopped by, and today it's going to be another exciting program. I don't know if you've heard about what happened at the Chrisland schools, how the students were taken on a school excursion to Dubai, and the children were left to themselves. These young people were left to themselves, not properly supervised, and they got into some things they shouldn't have gotten into. They ended up producing a porn video and put it on social media. The girl at the center of that porn video has been castigated by almost everyone. Everyone is like, how did you get yourself into a position where you alone with boys? You alone with boys showing, exhibiting your sexual prowess. When I did the first video about that incident, I didn't really put the blame on the child. What I tried to do was put the blame on the parents, on the teachers, on every adult I've ever come in contact with that child. I'm not sure that child is a Christian, but if that child goes to a church, the church should also share part of this blame. You see, when I started the Teenage Life Ministry in 2002, that was when the Lord led me. The Lord led me to write this book. This book, Abstinence, Freedom from Sexual Bondage. And I started a TV program at the time, which I'm no longer doing now. Then I also started a radio program. I was on 3 radio stations: Top Radio, Inspiration Radio, and Vision Africa Radio. I'm still on Vision Africa Radio. I'm able to maintain that particular program. So what we say in our intro is this. We say our main goal in the Teenage Life Mission is to effect behavior change among youth, since most of them are already sexually active. When we got into the ministry, we started with school outreaches. And I just said to myself, you know what Jesus said when he said, the harvest is ready, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are very few. That was just the way I felt. I felt that the church needs to put more emphasis on youth ministry, on ministering to young people, on youth outreaches, because my experience in the schools with these young people made me just feel, I almost felt helpless. I almost also felt hopeless, like, can I really make an impact? Because the need was so much. I'll have programs where young girls are telling me that their parents are telling them to sleep with men and bring money. Some will be asking me, you're telling us not to have sex. So if we have been having sex, what will happen to us? So they don't even know this consequence of sexual promiscuity. So for me, it was like, okay, I might not catch them as virgins in the secondary schools, but at least to moderate behavior, to effect behavior change, to make them embrace the biblical values, the moral values that is premarital sexual abstinence. This was what I felt I could do. I felt I could teach them how to negotiate their sex life from a position of holiness, not just a position of strength, not just a position of manipulation, but a position of holiness. What does the Bible say? I felt that every young person, every youth, every child should memorize all scriptures that deal with sexual immorality, that deal with sodomy, and how God hates these things. It's unfortunate we took the Bible out of the school, but I just hope that with so much awareness now about how endangered our children are, the church will wake up, and parents also would wake up. When the Lord sent me to minister to youths, at a point he said to me, it's the parents you need to be speaking to now, because the parents are so oblivious of what's going on. The parents are playing the ostrich. You know what the ostrich does? When you're chasing an ostrich, the ostrich will run and hide the face in the sand and think that while it's not seeing you, you're not seeing it. The parents feel that since we're not involved in such things, our children can't be involved. Since we don't see such things, our children can't see those things. We cannot continue to play the ostrich. Family should work together as a team. See everyone in the family as part of the team. Sit down and have moments where you discuss all these things. You can't shy away from them anymore. Giving your child a smartphone, it's terrible. It's terrible. Look at the confession of the child, the girl. They say she's a 10-year-old girl. I don't know how that girl could be 10 years with her sexual prowess, but she's 10 years old. She said one of the students had taken her phone charger and later asked her to come for it. When he phoned her to come for it, she went. He said, well, go into the bathroom. I plugged it in the bathroom. By the time she went into the bathroom, they were able to gather themselves around her and stopped her from exiting the room. And she said they gave her something to drink. They gave her a drink. They probably spiked her drink with drugs. But how did the children get those drugs? How did the boys get those drugs? I understand also that the boys had confessed that actually they put something in a drink and gave to this girl. So that's why she could do anything without blinking an eye. And of course, she has an idea about what sexual, prowess is all about. She already has an idea about it, but she was able to do with such excellence, so to say, because of the effect of the drugs. I understand that the boys actually confessed also, but the school authorities, the Chrisland schools, that they are trying to cover it up, because you know the story. Those boys are people from very rich homes, and in Nigeria, justice, the rich get away with anything. Justice goes to the highest bidder. So they are trying to cover up these children of rich people so that they don't, embarrass their parents, so to say. But these boys are a menace to society. That's what they are. They need to be fished out and they need to be corrected. They need to be disciplined. Oh, yes. You give your child the smartphone. You don't know what your child is doing with a smartphone. You don't supervise the smartphone. The other day I heard a man of God say that, that they shouldn't give smartphones to children until they've gone into university. That's when they should give them smartphones. And I say, yes, it's a good idea. I had preached such also when I was invited to a church to minister to youth and parental. I also used to preach that don't give your children smartphones. But you see, these days, when you have a child, as a toddler, your child plays with the app for children's rhymes. That's where they learn their children's rhymes, from the app. So the app is on the smartphone. So from the time a child is a toddler, the child is introduced to the smartphone. So it's difficult for you to eventually, the child is now aware at age 10, 11, you take away the smartphone. It's a bit difficult. So that's why if that child must have the smartphone, it must be monitored, supervised, and there must be parental guidance. There must be something stopping her from watching pornographic sites. They say, sometimes these things pop up, this thing pop up, this thing pop up. Okay, if they pop up, then that's where the home upbringing, the child's upbringing will make the child know that you shouldn't go to this way. You shouldn't go to that way. When a child is introduced to sex at a very young age, it wakes up an insatiable appetite. So that child, it's ready to just play with this person, play with that person, play, and they don't know the consequences because nobody has taken time to tell them what the consequences are. When I want to talk about these things in church, the other day somebody said, then Sister Jessica not be talking about the sex bit. We don't talk about the sex bit, but the youth want to hear about it when I'm alone with them. When I'm alone with them in the youth church, we talk about those things. I tell them the implications. I tell them why that should not take their time. That should not even take their attention at this time because there are more important things to focus on to be able to succeed in life. So the parents don't want you talking about it while their children are there in the church. But yes, in the youth church, you can explain to the children what the Bible has to say about sodomy, what the Bible has to say about sexual immorality, about masturbation, pornography, and all these things. It's not of God. Pornography is coming from an opium culture. These are things we need to teach our children. That's why I tend to lose it sometimes when I hear Christian women and husbands say that oral sex is okay in marriage. Where did the culture of oral sex come from? It came from pornography. It came from an opium culture. How can the church embrace that? If you ask somebody, what are the sexual organs in the body? We all know what the sexual organs are in a man and in a woman. The mouth is not an sexual organ. The anal cavity is not. God did not create them for that. When the purpose of a thing is not known, then abuse is inevitable. What we're doing is we're abusing our bodies and thinking that it's proper. It's not. It's not. All things are expedient, but not all things are allowed. Not all things are allowed, but not all things are expedient. It's not necessary. There was a story a young lady told about how she got into pornography. That she, not just watching it, she got into being one of those that produce, that they were used to produce pornography on the internet. This lady's story, this young lady touched me so much. It touched me so much. I say, I wish every parent could hear this. That's why I want to share it today on this program. This lady said she saw an advert about models between ages 16 to whatever, 20 or 22, and she applied online. And when she applied, she got a response immediately, and they told her she had qualified and all that and everything. And then every model's dream, they will fly her to New York. They will put them in the penthouse. They will now model and all that. And she went. And of course, the forms they fill, most of the time they don't read it through. You don't read it through. So she filled the form, they signed documents and everything. They paid for her flight ticket. They paid her some money, and she got to New York. And my, oh my, come and see the clothes. They asked them to wear this, wear that. They did the catwalks and everything. So they did the photo shoot. It was successful. It was wonderful. And then they did the bikini shoot. They did the access suits. I beg your pardon. They did the bikini shoot. It was wonderful as well. And then they asked them, well, you have to do this and do that, and eventually got to where you have to strip bare naked. And she said, no way, I can't do that. I can't do that. Why should I do that? They said, well, you signed for it. We paid you for it. You'll be enjoying. There's no way you can pull out now. And before they started everything, they had seized all the passport. They're taking away everybody's passports. So you can't even escape. And where are you going to? You flew from United Kingdom to the United States, and you signed documents that you were going to do all sorts of modeling with them. So this girl, a teenager, she said she just didn't know what to do. She was confused. She was broken. She cried and cried and cried and cried. What she didn't know was that this is just the beginning of sorrows, as the Bible will say. It got to a point, they now said, okay, they were not going to do they were going to do the sex scenes. She said, sex scenes? Sex scenes was never part of it. They say, yes, it was. Look at the contract. You signed it. It was. This girl could not believe it. She could not believe what they were talking about. And they had to ply them with drugs and alcohol for them to be able to loosen up, be able to do whatever they told them to do. And that was how it started. When people watch pornography, they are meant to feel that, oh, it's natural. What the people are doing, it comes to them naturally and it's normal. Pornography is unnatural sexual expression. It's sexual perversion. It's not normal. It's not natural. It's not. It's not at all. I remember that pastor that preached that it's okay to have oral sex with your wife on radio. And when I went to see him, I said to him, do you, pastor, have oral sex with your wife? He said no. And I said, why? He said, because it's unnatural. I said, thank you. That reminds me of the scripture in Romans 1 that says that we are turning the natural use of the body into that which is unnatural. And when they were doing that, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. They became a reprobate mind, a mind that's completely devoid of morality. It's in stages. You go from this, you get into this, you get into that. So when people are watching pornography, you think it's normal sexual expression. It's not. Those people are drugged to be able to perform those things. And you want to copy the sexual acts of people who are on drugs, people who are on alcohol. Is that what you want to copy? That's what our children are watching on their phone. That's what they are watching. And when they finish watching it, they want to give it full expression. They want to practice it. They are young. They are young. The foolery of youth. Oh yes, they want to do it. They don't realize the consequences. That's where the adults in the room should step up and teach them. No, you shouldn't do this. Don't watch this on your phone. Don't watch that. It's destructive. It's addictive. It's addictive and destructive. Oh yes, it is. I don't even know how any wife or husband will put each other through putting your mouth in a closet. It's like putting your mouth in a toilet closet in the name of oral sex. No matter how cool you want it to sound, it ain't cool. It ain't cool at all. It ain't cool. It's like the way we glamorize abortion. Oh yeah, everybody has sex. Sex is everywhere. So once you feel you don't need the baby, no. No, because sex comes with responsibility. If you get pregnant, that's the responsibility that comes with it. You must not kill an innocent being in the womb because of your own inability to control yourself. No, you mustn't. If I preach premarital sexual abstinence, you say no, you must be sleeping before you marry, fine, but please be ready for the consequences and don't become a murderer. Don't turn the womb into a graveyard. Don't do that. God hates it. God hates the shedding of innocent blood. No blood can be more innocent than the blood of an unborn baby. The womb should be the safest place for an unborn baby, not a graveyard, not a violent crime scene. No, abortion is violent. It's terrible. Let me not digress before I lose some of you, because the moment I start talking about this, some people are going to walk away. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying the truth. So let us change strategy with raising our children. Let's teach our children. Let's start a sustained effort to help them improve in every area of their life, spiritually, academically, and otherwise. Let our children be comfortable with us to discuss and tell us anything. That girl in the Chrisland video could not tell her parents what had happened. She said the school told her, if you tell your parents, you will just be deleted, as in you'll be killed. Can you imagine? So she couldn't tell her parents. Let's raise children that will not be scared to tell us anything. Our children should be able to tell us everything. That threat from an outsider, our children should be able to tell us. But we can't have the how do I put it now? The trust of our children without making them realize that if you tell me the truth, I will not beat you, I will not flog you, I will not smack you. Because when we smack and beat and hit, we ostracize, we just create a wedge. We push our children away from us. We should do it. Raising children these days is about talking and teaching and mentoring. It's not so much about beating and hitting, and no, it's not. I've lived in the United Kingdom. I see the way the average white people raise their children. They talk patiently. They teach them things. The black man doesn't have so much patience, but with Christ, we can do all things through Christ. That patience can come through Christ. We explain, we teach. When you tell any child in the UK anything, the child will say to you, why? Why? That's a teaching moment. It's not a smacking moment. The church needs to rise up. If the parents are too shy to teach the children the right things, the church should rise up in the youth church to help the youth open up to what they are going through and then direct them, mentor and nurture them. That's what the church should be doing now. Not just playing music and making everybody feel good and feel all right. I remember years back when I mentioned to a pastor's wife that the Lord had called me into youth ministry. She said to me, youth ministry? There's no money in youth ministry. I said, I'm not in need for the money. I made all the money I could make when I was Jessica on television, running my media outfit and being an employee of labor, producing magazine and being an author, publishing books and all that. I've done a lot of that. That did not save me when I was at the point of death. God saved me, and that's why I say, God, if you give me back my life, I'll serve you all the days of my life. And I decided to do that. And the pastor was telling me there's no money in youth ministry. All the money I had could not save me from being at the point of death. I could barely walk, I could barely eat, I could barely sleep. I went through hell and back. But the Lord saw me through. So there are things that are more important than just money. The church should not look at the fact that, oh, there's no money in youth ministry. No.